FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark, and I'm excited about this one tonight. That's right, Central Minnesota, because we are bringing this band to Little Falls, Minnesota on May 13th. You probably heard us talking about it the last few weeks. On the phone right now, I am talking with Kyle Pfeiffer. He's the lead singer of the band Blacklite District, and it's good to talk to Kyle. We've actually had Kyle and Roman and the guys in studio here before. How are you doing, by the way? Are you excited to come to Little Falls?
I tell you what, I am very excited. I think it was almost 3 years ago when we stopped in for the first time with you guys. Would that be about right?
That would be about right, yeah.
So, it's like after the, years of the airplay and support, I mean, you guys deserve a show, first of all, and we couldn't be more excited to be the band to bring that show on the 13th and ready to kick some ass, my man.
Hey, the cool thing, too, about this is there's lots of things going on in that, but actually the next day, May 14th, which, by the way, you guys will probably be playing into May 14th, The Dark will officially turn 7 years old, our program. So that's cool, too.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
I did not know that. We got to turn that into a celebration at midnight, man.
That's what I'm thinking. It's got to be a midnight celebration. So what we're trying to tell everybody here is you got to get your butts on down to the West Side Bar May 13th to check out Blacklite District, right?
You know it, man. It's going to be one hell of a show. Again, we've never played the area. I don't know. Do you guys get a lot of shows or not really?
Well, we get local musicians that come and play, but we don't get national bands like yourself to come and play. So it's kind of a rarity here. So I think the fans, the listeners, and even just the people in general in the 30-mile radius are going to probably be going, hey, what's going on over there? Let's take a look, see what's going on.
Right. Totally. And, that's the thing. We go all over the country, and, a market like yours to me is like something that we should be playing 2-3 times a year, because that's what we do with all the other radio markets, as they call them, for us, because it really builds a fan base like that. On the other hand, though, if you don't get a lot of these types of shows coming around, plus the Skyline 10th anniversary, I think the whole day might just be a huge, huge event, and, we're looking forward to it, man. It's going to be awesome, and who knows, maybe we'll make it a tradition, or we'll be able to come back, a time or two every year, because, hey, you guys are playing the songs. Hopefully the listeners will know a couple songs.
I think they will. I think they will. I'm sure they will on that.
Sure.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, let's talk about what's going on. Since we've chatted the last couple of times, I know we've had a chance to talk a couple of times in the last time you visited here, but what's going on with the project Blacklite District? Where are things at right now?
Well, I tell you what, we're halfway through our next album, which is called Instant Gratification. And, a lot of people ask why we're putting on an album now. We just dropped an album in October, so I can't think how long ago that was, 7, 8 months ago. But, the world has changed, especially in the music industry. So we have a huge audience, which is like younger kids on the internet who love anime and things like that. We just passed 7 million plays on YouTube with all our viral stuff. We do these things called Nightcore remixes, and it's crazy, dude. So what we've been trying to do is keeping up with that and keeping up with the times, really, is the last few months, we put out Living in a Nightmare, which you guys were playing and I think still are. And then we followed it up, I think hardly a month later with another video and song, Cold as Ice, which is our newest single. And those are the first 2 tracks from the album. So we're just pumping out the content and basically trying to get as many eyes and ears on the product as possible. And, man, I tell you, things are going up fast, and it's crazy, and we couldn't be more happy about it.
Yeah, I think the direction you're going is just spot on. I mean, Living in a Nightmare, when we heard the song here, we were like, wow, this is interesting. A little bit. I mean, you guys kind of had that rapish, rockish kind of feel anyway from the get-go of your stuff. But this almost had a little more techno to it. And now moving on to this latest song, Cold as Ice, which we're spinning here on the airwaves, which, by the way, I just put into full rotation this week. So you're going to see and hear that all the time now on our airwaves. I love the sound of it, and it really, I think, is going to grab the attention of a lot of people, just like you'd mentioned.
Well, I think so, too, man. It's crazy because the song, I mean, I had all the music for the song done like a year before I even okay, it came out in February, so let's say a year before then, I had this whole track done musically and I had the chorus idea. And for some reason I never went back to it, and then all of a sudden one day I was going through old stuff, and I don't consider it old because it just came out, right? But you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So I went back and I was like, ooh, I forgot about this one, and then I literally put it together in one day. I think we tracked all the vocals, and I don't know, it's just got a sound. I feel like it's the sound that we're going for. I want something that represents the band because we do have a bit of the EDM stuff, the
Yep.
dance club stuff. But again, going back to what I said a minute ago about like the YouTube remixes we do that get millions and millions of plays, you almost have to bridge the gap, and that's kind of what we try to do, especially on the road, is bridge the gap between it being a like hard rock band slash show slash song, but also giving you the vibe of what's really hot right now. I mean, think about there's DJs that'll be one guy behind a booth that's selling 20,000 tickets to a show.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So whether whoever likes it or doesn't like it, you just have to accept that that's kind of how the times are. And really what we're just trying to do is write and produce music that I would want to listen to. In fact, I just listened to Cold as Ice about 20 minutes ago. So.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Listen to your own music to make sure you're critiquing yourself, right?
For sure. You have to, you know, and especially at radio. You know, radio's a tough game. Only as tough as you want it to be, though, because look, you're going to have your standards that we hear on the radio a lot. You know, the five-finger death punches of the world and things like that, which is great. That's a good thing. It's successful. People love it. But on the other hand, things have to change eventually.
Yep.
Things have to go in a different direction. It can't be. I mean, it drives me crazy sometimes when I'm driving down the street at 5 in the afternoon and I'm hearing a Godsmack song from 20 years ago.
Yep.
No offense. Like, you're going to have to play the old tracks. Everyone wants to hear AC/DC once in a while. But, you know, it's like, how do you get the spots for where does the new act get their exposure? Because they could only become Metallica if they're getting spinned like Metallica. You know where I'm coming from a little bit?
Absolutely.
And, you know, I get it's the whole corporate world. I'm not trying to blab your ear off here, but, you know, it's just kind of how it is nowadays. So we're just trying to do what we do, and the fans are loving it so far.
Well, I think I'm a little bit older than you, but back in the day, bands like you were discovered on college radio. So if you think about it, it was back like I remember in college getting the CD of Nirvana, getting the CD of Alice in Chains, getting the CD of Dookie and Green Day. And those three bands I'm mentioning now, two of them they're going into the Hall of Fame. One's in the Hall. I mean, they're going to be Hall of Famers. But that's how it was founded back it was the college radio stations that really were pushing it. And then eventually they kind of gravitated to commercial radio. And you're dead on right. And that's why I created the show The Dark. And for the listeners, they know around here, we focus only on music from 2000 till today, and our strong focus is on cutting-edge new rock, like a band like yourself. It gives you a platform, a chance, kind of like the old-school college radio format, to let people know, hey, there are other bands out there that are just as good as those staple bands that you play and you hear on commercial radio.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. It's almost like, I don't know if I probably shouldn't say it. I don't know how strict people are about it, but, you know, there's a very popular satellite radio channel that plays hard rock.
Yeah.
And, well, for example, they're probably one of the biggest rock channels in the country, and they only play new rock, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, again, and you saying your format, I mean, that, I think really, because, okay, let's look at it like this. When you're listening to pop radio, let's say, or those, let's say the Katy Perry stations and things like that, you're not hearing Backstreet Boys and NSYNC songs from 20 years ago.
No.
Because they're playing and creating new stars. And to me, in my opinion at least, not you guys per se, but I say rock radio in general, when I hear songs that basically classic rock station with a couple currents thrown in during the day, It's
Right.
like you get where I'm coming from there too. You know, the pop guys aren't doing that, the country guys aren't doing that because they're playing current new stuff. That's how you create new stars, and I think that's the problem that rock music has today. But again, that's just my opinion.
Hey, it's okay. And actually, you guys really got founded, and you can mention Cirrus Octane. I mean, Cirrus
Right.
Octane really with your song "With Me Now," which went to number
Oh,
one on
goodness.
their. That really blew you guys up, didn't it?
Dude, we sold over 100,000 records because of their airplay.
Right.
It was amazing, and again, I think it's obviously because they have that national reach. You know, I mean, that comes in every car you buy off the parking lot nowadays.
Yep.
But again, it's a pay service, so the people who are paying for that obviously are willing to spend money on the music, and you know, they do a great job with that stuff. Now, it's a lot harder for them to, like when we did With Me Now about 3 years ago.
Yep.
It's a lot harder for them to come on, you know, which confuses me because it's almost going the way of the corporate radio where I just heard Stained on a little bit ago and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it's a hard thing because they want things that you can't get unless they're playing you, but they want you to have those things. It's really confusing. I don't want to bore the listeners, but you know, it's a tough market out
It
there,
is.
and you know they're very strict. Actually, we just got picked up on the alternative channel called Faction up there.
Yep. Yep.
They play a lot of heavy stuff too, but you know, that's just another way of the world. And again, comparing it to your show, how you guys created the dark. I mean, that's the way to go, man. And you know, if it's not for stations like you and people who are willing to give the music a shot, you know, nothing changes, and it's just going to keep going down. So,
Right.
you know, I appreciate all you do, man.
Well, I appreciate the music you're making. We're talking with Kyle Pfeiffer. He's with the band Blacklite District. Let me ask you that question, okay? So you guys got your push from Cirrus Octane with Me Now. It kind of blew up, and then you kind of faded away a little bit. Now you're kind of making a comeback. Is it a little tougher, or is it easier now? I mean, since you've had recognition in the past, is it easier to get in, or has it been tougher because of the different kind of direction you're going a little bit?
Well, that's a really good question. You see, after we had the success with Me Now, and it was a very big success for us. In fact, they said it was who's they, but I've been told it was, you know, one of the bigger independent releases of that year, even though we
Right.
were technically associated with a major label and all that. So basically, look, you know, after that, I mean, we got ripped off royally, bro. Like,
Yeah, I know.
it was the cliche story that you hear 1,000 times, but it's like, wow, really, you have one hit and there's a little green coming in, and people will do anything they can to get their hands on it, and it totally killed all of our momentum for sure. I hate having to come on here and talk to you and say, yeah, well, the fact is we did lose all of our momentum. You know, it sucked for sure.
Right.
And there was nothing we could do about it. In terms of coming back, you know, it's a double-edged sword. The good part is that we do have name recognition.
Yep.
So when you take this to, let's say, radio or booking a tour, a lot of the people know who you are, right? Now, there's a lot of people that are new in their organizations that may not have heard of us. So in a way, I'm almost very happy with where we are because aside from the 100,000 records we sold because of the satellite play, we're kicking ass compared to what we did before. So,
Right.
you know, it's a double-edged sword, but if I had to say anything, I'd say I'm very happy with where the band is right now. And like I said, 7 million plays on YouTube we've got in, you know, 5 months, and that keeps growing.
Yep.
And I think that's the way of the future, too. So I couldn't be happier, honestly.
Well, I think, and I saw a couple weeks ago on Billboard Rock Indicator, you were in the top 20, weren't you, with Living in a Nightmare?
Yeah, well, we were one spot away. We
Okay.
hit number 21 on the indicator, which on that chart was our highest charting. And see, a lot of things that I don't like is like when you get into radio, all the stations are always focused on the media-based chart.
Right.
I don't know how you guys call that, and understandable. But I try and tell people it's not always about the media-based chart. First of all, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to do,
Yep.
and I mean big money, to be able to work something like that. You know, you and I could talk about that off the air. But I'm just kidding here. But you know, there's so many variables to all this. It's hard to really say one specific thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Well, I hear you.
who knows, man?
Actually, I report for Under the Radar chart through Radio Contraband. So, and I know that's for stations like myself that aren't going to have the big dollars, all that kind of crap, you know, basically and that's what it comes down to. And that's where I really gather a lot of my information because these are fellow guys, programmers, and that are, I think, kind of on the same level that I am, that they're trying to help out the young up-and-coming artists rather than just the
Oh,
established
yeah.
artists.
Absolutely. And one thing I will say about Under the Radar, that is an amazing chart, man.
Yeah.
Because you get your names, your big names, your mainstream guys on there,
Yep.
but it gives guys like me, yeah, it was top 20 on Under the Radar.
Yep.
And, to me, I mean, really, okay, when I think about, okay, so we were 21 on the Billboard indicator, but, I mean, do the fans care what number it is?
No.
I mean, I really don't know, you know what I'm saying? So I think for all of us, like in the industry, so to speak, when we can have a chart like Under the Radar where it gives guys like me and younger bands a chance to, I guess, play the game with the big guys and get a reaction, to me, that's just as important as anything, and it really is, too.
Absolutely.
Because who's watching it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. We're talking to Kyle Pfeiffer with the band Blacklite District. They're coming to the West Side Bar, Little Falls, May 13th. Let's talk about you coming to the bar again here at the West Side Bar. What should fans expect of your show? I guess I have not seen a Blacklite District show. What should they expect? What should they see?
Well, I would say definitely expect the unexpected because it's not going to be your typical rock show. We have, we have a DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine where the drums would be. There's a huge DJ booth. And, I mean, this thing is pumping bass, beats, and then Roman and I come out with the heavy guitars and the vocals. I mean, it's almost like a spectacle. We try and make it as awesome as possible for what we do. So like I said earlier, it's a combination of a rock show, hard rock show, metal show, but it's combined with the elements of an EDM show, a club show, a rave type thing. So you get the elements for, I guess there's a little something for everybody in there. And overall, we're not here trying to you give peace a chance, like David Lee Roth used to say. We're just here to have a good time, and I think if people come out, that's what it is. It's a good time. Some people might be a little closed-minded if you're, a hardcore metal dude, but if you just want a fun night of good music, I'd say that's what the show's all about.
I think the crowd you're going to get out there is exactly what the kind of music you're going to be playing. I think it's just going to be perfect for them. And yeah, I was kind of curious in that because I noticed that you have kind of the DJ booth set up. Is it a little easier for traveling, or does it make it harder for traveling with all that equipment?
Well, I tell you what, it's much easier. We've done the bus route. We used to have a big bus and a big trailer. A couple of crew guys. I think we had 6, 7, 8 maybe people, in our crew before. Now it's literally us 3 guys. We hop into, like an Escalade or a Tahoe type thing, and we literally can fit all of our equipment in the back. We all use wireless microphones. Some of the guitars we don't even. My guitar, I don't use an amp.
Right.
I use a modulator, which basically is an amp inside of a pedal board,
where
I can get all my tones dialed in and go straight out of the house from there. So it's actually much easier. We grab a hotel instead of parking at the Flying J or whatever it's called every night. So I don't know. I mean, look, we coming back like this, we wanted to make it as simple, as easy, and as successful as we could, but not taking away and trying to be like, oh, these guys are just being lazy.
Right.
Because we still want to deliver the best show we can. And, we're going to play in front of, 10,000 people in Vegas next week.
Yeah.
At Rock into Spring. So I guess we're going to see what happens. But everywhere across the country has loved it so far, man. And can't wait to come there to Little Falls and unleash the metal. You know what I mean?
Well, what happens in Little Falls is going to have to stay in Little Falls, just like Vegas, okay?
I'm telling you, man, I'm going into Little Falls just as excited as I am for Vegas. So, again, it's not about if it's 10,000 people. Sure, I'd love to have 10,000 people every night. It would, right? But You know what? I think we're going to have a packed evening in Little Falls. It's going to be a fun event for everybody. And, there might be some drinks. There might be who knows what's going to happen.
The best part of this whole thing is for the fan, the listener out there, it's absolutely free. How many times do you get to go to a free concert? That doesn't happen very often.
That's true. Free show. What are we, May 13th?
May 13th, yep.
It's going to be the 7-year anniversary of The Dark at midnight that night. I'm sure we're going to celebrate. And I would just encourage everyone, there's a lot of times where people say, well, there's nothing to do around here, nothing to do. And then shows come and nobody comes to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you are looking for something to do that evening, it's going to be a killer Saturday night. And Blacklite District is very excited, my man.
Kyle, a lot of fun talking to you. We're going to talk with you the week of the event, and we're going to play your latest song right now, Cold as Ice. You okay with that?
Hey, man, spin it for me, bro.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Once again, that is Kyle from the band Blacklite District. Their latest song is called Cold as Ice. It's on the dark. It's on FM 94.